and Cynthia Cawley and Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir, but the team of Lipke and Montplasir won the match with a 29-19 two-box roll-off win, and they contend this afternoon against our number 3 seeded team of Shawn Baker and Toni Wellspring. Let's meet our teams right now. First, our number 4 seed, last week's winner, Tim Lipke of Londonderry and Colleen Montplasir of Manchester.
We'll begin with Colleen, whose average is 118, high single 175, 463 triple. And Colleen bowls at Park Place in Wyndham. For the male side of the team, it's Tim Lipke, 126 average, high single 214, triple 515. Tim bowls at the bowling center that he and wife Wendy own, Lakeside in Manchester.
Tim had a 685 in the roll-off. Colleen a 624 for their total of 1309 and 4th seed. Our number 3 seeded team is Shawn Baker of Lynn and Toni Wellspring of Methuen.
Third time for Toni Wellspring on WNDS, coming in with an average of 112. Single 174, her high triple is 449. Toni does her league bowling at Candlewood in North Reading, at Exeter Lanes in Exeter, New Hampshire. And Shawn Baker coming in with an average of 129, high single 213. Shawn's high triple is 472, and Shawn does his bowling at Lucky Strike Lanes in Lynn.
Shawn had a 688 in the roll-off. Toni a 624. They have 13-12 total, good for a number 3 seed. Let's get right to it. We're coming back with this afternoon's match. It's mixed doubles competition on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We're coming back to Leda Lanes right after this on WNDS TV.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire.
All right, here we go. Week number 2 of our mixed doubles. We started out with 5 teams. We're down to 4 with the elimination of Colleen and Cawley last week by Lipke and Montplasir. And now Shawn Baker and Toni Wellspring provide the opposition for Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir. And Tim Lipke will be first to bowl here this afternoon at Leda Lanes. Tied 317 last week after 3 strings, and the 2-box roll-off 29-19 was the score of the strike by Colleen Montplasir. The margin of difference.
You know, the women really carried both teams last week easily.
Tim Lipke, as Mike mentioned in the open, with his wife Wendy, are owner-operators of Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, and have been since last September. He and Wendy have been together for 19 years, married for 19 years. They have a couple of kids, Shauna and Shane. Tim playing the wood. And the first mark of the match. Now our first look at Shawn Baker this week. We've seen Shawn before. He's been on WNDS 8 times. And if you haven't seen Shawn before, you will note that he throws the ball pretty hard.
He does, and last season in the WCBC, he was rated number 2, right behind Steve Badney. Second winningest bowler last year, pinfall-wise.
Spare for Shawn in the first frame. Well, you can relate to that, can't you?
Second place?
Yes.
Well, maybe for another couple months, Dick. The rematch between Dick and Mike coming up, it looks like in late February. And Dick, we need to get cameras this time to prove what really happens in our rematch. You beat me last year 98-94 in front of a packed house at Pilgrim Lanes as part of a fundraiser. We'll do it again. We'll give you an exact date in the next few weeks.
Shawn looks for 2 marks in a row and has them. He'll be shooting for bonus money, or actually Toni will be shooting for bonus money when she comes to the line. But now it's Colleen Montplasir working on a spare that Tim Lipke left for her. Our terrific WNDS TV crew working at Leda Lanes to make Candlepin Stars and Strikes possible every week. Our director today is Ken Knight. On audio is Don Cronin. Tape machines manned by Dave McCarthy. Computer graphics, Larry Taylor. And on video is Paul Hunter. The camera crew of Jamie Atkinson Kevin LaFond and Bob Dole, all here at Leda Lanes, bringing you all of the excitement of Candlepin Stars and Strikes. That's a 10 box for Colleen.
Our scorekeeper is Paul Ouellette. Does a fine job for the bowlers here in the bowling center and the spectators, who usually number in the hundreds, coming to watch once a month when we get together here at Leda Lanes for taping of 4 programs.
Just missed a head pin. Colleen just got married in September, and she and her husband Mark, their hobby, riding Harleys. She rides her 85 Harley Sportster. Her husband has a 97 Road King, and they are regular visitors to Motorcycle Week in Laconia.
Can't say I've ever
every year
had the pleasure.
Oh, I've been.
Have you?
Oh, absolutely. When we lived up there.
Got your leather chaps on, and
I had my little Honda.
Oh no.
It was really an experience.
Now, I heard you had a moped. Now, come on, let's be honest.
And a 9 box for Colleen. No, I actually did have a Honda.
You really had a motorcycle?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Not any longer, but did for many years.
I just don't picture you as a bikie.
Toni Wellspring. She has her teammates here, a whole bunch of them.
There seems to be a little extra energy in the house this week. Maybe as a result of some of Tony's teammates, as you point out.
And a spare for Toni starting out. That's 3 marks in a row and $50 for the team of Baker and Wellspring. Watch it again. Played the wood perfectly.
Toni confessing to me before we started being kind of nervous. I don't think so. No. Throwing the ball with confidence, nailing the head pin, picked up that split. Now she's got a makeable 7-10, although it gets less makeable as more wood rolls into the pit.
Tough shot here, looking for another $25 in bonus money. And she'll play the wood, and will she get the carom? She will not. So the bonus money streak stops at 50. And that'll be a 10 box. So the team of Baker and Wellspring opening up an early lead here of 20 pins. And now Tim Lipke.
No, I don't think so.
Tim on the Brooklyn side of the head pin.
Tim needed 1 pin in the 10th frame last game. He had a 2 single pin split configuration, missed them both, and that forced the overtime 2-frame roll off.
Spare for Tim Lipke in the 5th frame. 2nd mark of the string for that team.
Guess it doesn't matter how long you've been at this, Dick. You still get nervous when it comes down to you and 1 pin, which was the case with Tim last week.
Right on the head pin. Look at that for a fall. He'll put 4 in the spare. What do you call that one, Mike? Trouble.
Yeah. Thank you.
That one doesn't have a name.
It does. Would you like to hear it in French?
Played the wood. Has wood scattering all over the lane. Do you speak French on Morin in the Morning on WHOB?
Yeah, we do a French hour every morning between 9 and 10.
Yeah. That'll be an 8 box for Tim. I understand you were talking about me with our friend Ken Cale not that long ago on the radio.
Absolutely. Yes, we were.
He is the voice, the public address announcer at Lowell Lock Monster games in at the Songus Arena in Lowell.
And the Nashua Pride.
And the Nashua Pride.
And the St. A's football. He's everywhere.
Shawn Baker on the head pin.
He's my morning sports guide, 106.3 WHOB. The cannonball, we call him.
He cannot break up the split. He's got the 5 and 7 to Shawn Baker. But he has been right on the head pin with each of his first ball.
Well, he had 2 marks in his first 2 tries.
And a 10 box for Shawn. 73 through 5. An impressive first half for that team. Again, he grabs the head pin. The 5-pin goes. It's a strike for Shawn Baker. 4th mark of the string. And you'll watch it again. Watch that 5-pin. Watch the wood come from behind and grab it. And here it comes, and here comes that piece of wood, and there goes the 5-pin. Back to live action now. Colleen Montplasir. Nice spare for Colleen. Well done. Not an easy shot. Watch it again.
5-pin, the last to go.
3, 5, 6, and 10, and the 5-pin gets swept out. 3 marks in the string for Lipke and Montplasir. Now on the spare, on the head pin, same exact leave. The 3, the 6, the 3, 5, 6, and 10. The 6-pin moved off the spot a little bit.
This is not an easy shot. It's tough when everything's on spot, even more difficult now. Probably still wouldn't have had it. She was still a little bit too far, even with the pin being on spot. 3, 6, 10 remain for a 10 box.
It'll be a 9 box for Colleen. 90 through 8 for Lipke and Montplasir. Now here is Toni Wellspring working on the strike left by Shawn Baker. Wellspring with a 7-pin drop, the 1, 2, and 10 with some wood in front of the 10.
And that should be good wood. She can either shoot this inside or outside. And she'll miss it altogether.
The head pin. Her team won the 2000 ladies team event at the World Tournament in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Teammates Karen McCormick, Deb Regan, Marion Brown, Karen Valancourt, and Johnny Brown.
And I think just about everybody's here. Yep. Making all the noise out front. Turns out that Toni actually won herself a prize as a child bowler. Did you see that?
Yep. I don't remember that show. She mentioned that she was on the Candlepin Champs on Channel 5, and I don't remember that show. She won a bike.
At age 13.
At age 13.
A lot of today's professional women bowlers did make an appearance at one time or other on the show Candlepin Champs. Show that I never saw, didn't live here at the time. But it was for youth bowlers. And she won a bike. In fact, that's how she got here today. Just on her bike. Very sentimental feeling about the bike.
A 10 box for Toni. 112 to 90 through 8. Check it. 111 through 90.
Scoring already a lot higher this week than it was last.
Tim Lipke will finish up the first string for his team. Right in the pocket. The 4 and the 7 on the left side did not budge.
I was talking to Tim before we started today. Tells me the scoring tends to be lower because you're only up for a couple frames, and you know you bowl every 4th person basically. You can't really get a good round of momentum going. Tends to slow you down a bit.
That's a spare for Tim Lipke. The 4th mark of the first string. Both teams with 4 marks. He'll put 7 in the spare.
Barely got a piece of the head pin, just enough to sweep everything aside, leaving 3 of the 4 back row pins, the 7, 8, and 10.
Wood across the back line. He's just got to spray it and see what happens here. Will it go? Yes, it will go. What a great spare for Tim Lipke. Watch it one more time. Couldn't play it any better. Got it from the backside, just nudged it, and there it goes. The 10 pin. 117 plus the ball, and the ball is a 7, a 124. First string for Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir.
Which is 10 pins higher than they started last week.
Now Shawn Baker will finish out the first string for his team. The They haven't left a pin standing in this first string on that side. Baker breaks up the split. Can he get them all to go? The 7-pin still stands.
Yeah, right. Either marks or 10s for Toni and Shawn.
And this one will. This is virtually an automatic with the wood behind it touching the pin. He put it over it. Will it go? It will go.
That was semi-automatic.
It was because the pin was touching the pin.
Frozen.
Yeah. He almost threw the ball too hard and knocked the wood over the wood. But a spare in the 9th. Right on the head pin. Shawn will bust up the split again. He'll leave the 4 and the 7 on the left side. Put 8 in the spare. Going right at it and missing it. He is at 137. 139 first string for Shawn Baker and Toni Wellspring. They take a 15-pin lead over Colleen Montplasir and Tim Lipke into the second string of this second match of our mixed doubles competition. We'll come back for the middle string right after we break for this on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Ready to go. Second string. Toni Wellspring will lead off for the team of Wellspring and Baker. They lead by 15 pins over Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir. 139 to 124. And Toni Wellspring starts the second string with a strike. Watch it one more time. 1-3 pocket. Great action. Now the second string on lane 33. On the head pin, but didn't get much to show for it. 3 on the left, the 2, the 4, and the 7, the 6 and 10 on the right. And she'll put 6 in the strike. Toni and her husband Mark have twin sons, Alex and Brian. They're identical twins, and they play soccer and baseball, and she takes a 6 box in the second string. And that'll bring Colleen Montplasir up on lane 34. Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV is presented by the Thompson family of dealerships, McMulkin Chevrolet, Nashua Hyundai, Nashua Mitsubishi, and Nashua Daewoo, all located in the New England Automotive Village on the Daniel Webster Highway in Nashua. Well, how's that to match the strike in the first frame by Colleen Montplasir? She got one of her own right there. 5-pin, last to go. And now Colleen will fill her strike, moving over to lane 33. Right on the head pin, right through a spread eagle.
Look familiar?
Right on the head pin.
Toni had that -1 pin on her strike fill.
And she'll put 5 in her strike. So the strikes not filled well by either Toni or Colleen.
But deceivingly not, because they both hit the head pin very nicely, but not in a good position.
And that'll be a 7 box. And so they match 22s through 2. And now it's Shawn Baker coming up.
The men start the first string, the women start the second string, and the third game is decided by the bowling teams themselves. Whoever starts ends up in reality bowling 6 frames, and the second bowler gets 4. So whoever's got the hot hand is generally who starts.
Shawn right on the head pin again. The 6-pin is still standing. That piece of wood won't get it.
It spun and then finally came to a stop, just nicking the 6-pin. Not enough pressure to knock it down.
Shawn's a licensed electrician. He's with Local 103. He works for John Penny Electric in Cambridge. And he picks up the spare. He's a newlywed. A couple of newlyweds here today. Shawn married Kerry on September 2nd of the year 2000. Just 24 years old. He's been bowling for 20 of those 24 years. It's right in the pocket, and he leaves a solid 5-pin.
Fine example of the junior programs in Candlepin bowling. she was a participant in for many years, and now as a young adult, all that practice and coaching has paid off nicely. Get your kids involved in Saturday League bowling. It's a good idea.
And he picks up the spare just barely, but it counts. Third mark in 4 frames for Baker and Wellspring, and now Tim Lipke comes up for the team of Lipke and Montplasir. Half Worcester on the left side.
Well, no damage. He wasn't on a spare, but it is a difficult spare to make for sure, as the 2 and the 8 are punched out.
Tim likes to restore antique cars. He's currently restoring a 62 Chevy SS convertible. That was a hot car when I was in high school.
I'm still thinking about that car you told me about a few weeks ago that you had, a Simca.
A Simca, sure.
Still trying to figure out what that was.
$5 for Tim. Well, one answer to the question of what is a Simca. Simca was Latka's girlfriend on Taxi, remember?
That was her name? Get out of here.
I think so.
Played by Carol Kane, I think. Latka and Simca?
I think so.
We're just full of useless trivia, folks. Facts that mean absolutely nothing.
This is a makeable shot for Tim, and he really needs to make it.
Yeah, but that wood is angled just a bit off to the side, which could deflect the ball in a way he doesn't want it to be.
He took the spare, played it well. We're going to the break. Both teams working on marks. When we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashville, New Hampshire, it's mixed doubles competition on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Toni Wellspring will fill the spare left on the table by Shawn Baker. The team of Wellspring and Baker with 3 marks and 4 boxes in the second string. Just missed the head pin.
I mentioned, Dick, that many of her teammates from the world team are here in person today, including Karen McCormick, who we'll see in 2 weeks, but she decided to come a little early and watch her teammate Toni Wellspring bowl with Shawn Baker today. So we'll see Karen. She's a top seed with Tom Morgan. You'll see those two together 2 weeks from today.
I want to acknowledge a couple of notes that we received. One from Barbara Seavey of Westford, Massachusetts. Another from Jackie Brocklebank of Georgetown, Massachusetts. Devoted viewers of Candlepin Stars and Strikes, we thank you very much. We'd like to hear from you all the time, wherever you may be watching. Our mailing address is Candlepin Stars and Strikes, WNDS TV, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. And we'll read a few more of the cards and letters that we have received during the course of the next couple of matches as Toni picks up the spare.
Better yet, come see us in person. Our next taping date is Tuesday, January 9th. Tuesday, the 9th of January. Hope you can come see us. We start about 10 o'clock, go till 4 in the afternoon or so, tape a month's worth of shows, and you can watch the bowling and know what happens ahead of time.
Here's Colleen. She's working on a spare. He breaks up the dinner bucket.
The bucket becomes the side saddle triangle all of a sudden. 2, 4, and the 8s.
Not open a restaurant with all sorts of bowling terms as on the menu.
Kind of like a Hard Rock Cafe,
yeah.
But
nice shot by Colleen. 2 marks in a row for Lipke, and Montplasir looking for some bonus money. Baker and Wellspring have $50 in bonus money. Now it's off the head pin. She's only going to put 4 in the spare.
it's a makeable spare, but there's actually 2 sets of double wood in there. The 1 and the 5, the 3 and the 9, and then, of course, on the other side, got the 6 and the 8.
Threw it past the head pin. Put the bonus money back in the vault.
Only given $50 away in the last couple weeks. And that was today.
And that'll be an 8 box.
The runner-up team today takes home $300. Part of that prize money is made possible by Leda Lanes, sweetening the money for the doubles because the money is split, obviously.
Shawn Baker buries it in the pocket, puts 8 in the spare, and leaves an impossible shot, especially if the wood stays the way it is. Although in Candlepin bowling, very little is impossible.
We know. We've learned the hard way, Dick, never to say it's impossible.
Well, the wood rolls off.
So it makes it tougher.
He'll take one on the right.
If anybody does get 3 strikes today, by the way, that team will split $825 in our triple strike jackpot. And the bonus ball contest at the end of the show, when we pick a postcard out of the giant jackpot hopper matching the bowler's throw with the postcard guess, wins $90 if we can get a match after this 3-game set is finished.
And you can participate by sending in your postcard. It's Shawn Baker right in the pocket. He has been in the pocket. Will it go? It surrounds the 5-pin, but it does not go down. Send your postcard to Bonus Ball Contest, Leda Lanes, 340 Amherst Street, Nashua. And the zip code in Nashua, I'll tell you in a second.
03068 something.
03068, I believe. I just had it here and I put it away.
Maybe 3. I don't think it goes up to 8 Nashua. We've only
03063. You're correct.
Yeah, there's a nasty split.
And again, the wood moving around, the pins moving around, creates an even stranger looking split.
3-6 in the 8. No wood.
Baker and Wellspring are increasing their lead. That'll be an 8-box for Tim Lipke.
And it is a sizable lead as Tim Lipke bowls up against a Baker and Wellspring spare in the 8th frame.
Right on the head pin. Not much to show for it. Although a piece of wood there on the left makes this an interesting situation.
And we need balls. Apparently,
here they come.
Yep. A couple of them occasionally get kind of bound up on there's a turntable that rotates around back in the pit. Sometimes you get a pin or something else that blocks the chute that takes it up. And that occasionally gets the balls to get all jammed back there.
Now you got a piece of wood on the left. That's what he'll be shooting at. He shot it on the outside of it, almost made it. I don't think that's the way he was trying to play it, but he almost made the shot.
Surprised to see the 10-pin go down.
That'll be a 10-box, 84 through 8. The team of Baker and Wellspring lead by 33 pins plus this ball in the match. Whatever Toni Wellspring gets on this ball. Toni's a financial analyst with Dynamics Research Corporation in Andover. And aside from her busy schedule as a mother of twins and bowling, she's going back to school. She's going to school at Northern Essex Community College, working toward an associate's degree in accounting.
There's a full life on Dick.
And a spare.
What a nice style she has. First time we've seen her since you and I have been doing the show on Stars and Strikes with the mixed doubles. She has probably had more spares than not today.
And she has an opportunity for bonus money in the 10th frame. Right in the pocket, and there it goes, a strike. That's $50 more in bonus money. We'll watch it one more time. She's at 140 plus whatever she puts on the strike. $50 in bonus money. They have 100 in the match. She grabs the head pin. They're at 147.
Oh, looking at a 150 game if she makes this.
If she makes this, another $25 and a 150 game.
And that's a stunning game for mixed doubles.
It'll be a 149 for Shawn Baker and Toni Wellspring. And her teammates welcome her back to the bench.
Sounds like that song, Who Let the Dogs Out. Woo, woo, woo.
Now Colleen Montplasir with some work to do. A half Worcester on the right side.
Letting the air out of the balloon with that one. 7 marks for Toni and Shawn.
Well, Colleen gave it a run. She's going to desperately need a mark in the 10th frame. That'll be a 9 box for Colleen. 93 through 9. We'll need a mark to get it down to around 50 going into the third string. Well, that's the way to do it. A very important clutch strike for Colleen Montplasir. Watch it one more time. If she ever needed one, she needed it right there. Another one would certainly help the cause. It's a 61-pin lead, minus whatever Colleen puts on the strike.
You know, the women have thrown more strikes than the men have today.
Right on the head pin. She bounced it a little bit.
Both Colleen and Toni, Dick, threw strikes in the first and the 10th frame.
7, 8, and 9 standing in the back row. That's an unusual stat, isn't it? Both throw strikes in the first and last box.
And did the men have any strikes this game?
No.
No, they did not.
It'll be 8 in the strike, a 111 for Colleen and Tim. A 53-pin lead for Toni Wellspring and Shawn Baker over Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir as we head to the third and final string of our mixed double match on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We're back at Leda Lanes right after this. Colleen Montplasir will bowl first in the third strings as the teams have decided to have the ladies lead off in the third string this afternoon.
The ladies are just tearing the place up, Dick. As we pointed out, they had all the strikes last game. 4.
The format calls for the men to start the first string, the women to start the second string, and we leave it up to the teams to decide who will lead off in the third string, because whoever bowls first bowls more.
That's it. And bowls last.
And bowls last.
So they get the pressure of that final couple frames when they know what they need.
And the team of Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir needs a lot. What you doing for lunch today? How about heading over to Pizza Hut in Nashua after the match? A 9 box for Colleen. The Pizza Hut's at 313 Amherst Street, just off exit 7W off the Everett Turnpike, and they have a terrific luncheon buffet Monday through Friday from 11:30 to 1. Includes a salad bar, includes breadsticks, includes dessert, gives you several different varieties of pizza. And there's bound to be one that you will like. So why not try it the next time you're in the area, the next time you're bowling at Leda Lanes during the week, or any time at all. Head on over to the Pizza Hut at 313 Amherst Street in Nashua. And if you'd like to call ahead for a takeout, it's 889-7710. 889-7710 for Pizza Hut on Amherst Street in Nashua.
And there's a spare for Miss Montplasir.
On the road back. They are way back.
Yeah, they got a long way to go.
Toni Wellspring from Methuen.
She's got the hot hand today.
And it continues. Toni averages 112, a high of 174, a high triple of 449. Bowls at Candlewood and North Reading and Exeter Lanes. And a spare. You know, when you spoke to her and asked her about her hobbies, she said no time.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
With her bowling being her only hobby, with her kids and her additional studies as a student at Northern Essex Community College, you wonder where the time goes. And there it goes. And that'll be a 9 box.
I'd like to mention the WCBC resumes action in January, 13th and 14th at Mohegan Lanes in Webster. It's the Hall of Famer Stacia Zernike honored in the Invitational Tournament. Arguably one of the greatest female Candlepin bowlers in the game. Ladies, average of 100 or higher, and men 112 or higher. You're invited to bowl. Again, that's January 13th and 14th at Mohegan Bowl in Webster. If you'd like information, call Dottie at 603-888-5592 for the Stacia Zernike Invitational Tournament and the WCBC.
And Tim Lipke. with a mark, 2 marks in a row for his team, a chance for some bonus money. Right on the head pin, and look at that.
Wow.
For a lead with a shot on the head pin. The 5, the 7, 8, 9, and 10.
I mean, he hit the head pin full enough to get a lot more than just that. But the ball deflected way off to the right and didn't take much with it.
Mary Bartone of Canton sent us a nice holiday card, Mike, and she also sent a newspaper article to take a quick look at about a new tournament that they're trying to get established. Maybe you can,
of course,
you know something about that.
You know that I didn't bring my reading glasses today. Right? I'm going to see this. Look at this.
Will it go? Can it force the 7-pin over? It cannot.
Wow. Everything but the 7-pin.
And that'll be a 9 box. It's out of the Brockton Enterprise.
I picked out the name Mike Morgan in there, but I couldn't read too much else.
And they're trying to get a new tournament down in that area. A single elimination tournament all over the state.
Now, this is for professionals, is it?
Yep.
Or okay.
Pro bowlers. They're trying to bring competitiveness back to the bowlers. That's according to Mike Kucha of Hanover.
Okay, he's a well-known pro.
He and Mike Morgan are trying to put this tournament together. 32 bowlers, 16 from north of Boston, 16 from south. The North Shore against the South Shore.
Well,
10 strings bowled at the North Shore house of one bowler, and the following week 10 strings at the house of a South Shore bowler.
We're going to see the Morgans in 2 weeks. Tom Morgan bowling. Mike will be here, so we'll ask him a little bit about that.
Shawn breaks up the split. He had a 5, 7, 10, and now it's just the 10 surrounded by some wood. The wood falls off the deck for the most part. Well, still a piece of wood in front of the 10.
Yes, Tom Morgan and Karen McCormick are the top seeds. We'll see them in 2 weeks. Next week, though, the winner of today's match takes on Jack Daly and one of the winningest women in bowling history, Janet Pock.
And Shawn played the wood nicely to pick up the spare, and we'll go to the break with the team of Shawn Baker and Toni Wellspring in the lead as we head down the home stretch of our second mixed doubles match on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Colleen Montplasir will bowl on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutzk with Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV crew at Leda Lanes for Candlepin Stars and Strikes. If you're just joining us, we're in the middle of our annual mixed doubles competition where we take a break from our normal ladder series and bring you some of the best men and women bowlers in New England. Oh, look at that shot by Colleen Montplasir.
Nice.
The 3, 4, 6, and 7. A beautiful shot by Colleen Montplasir.
Did you hear the teasing that Tim Lipke is taking? Yelling to Colleen, if you only had a partner.
And that's the same lead
Yes.
that Tim had. Exactly.
Yes, it is.
The 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes, it is. Somebody shouting, show Tim how to make it. Poor Tim is receiving lots of abuse from the fans here.
This is some shot. And Colleen picks the 5 pin, leaving the back row standing, the 7, 8, 9, and 10. And an 8 box.
I think the gallery today is dipping into the leftover eggnog from the holidays, Dick, in a very festive mood. Ringleader Gary Angelotti back there.
And here's Toni. She has been red hot on the head pin. She puts 8 in the spare that was left by Shawn Baker. And has a lot of wood on the deck to choose right here. Did not make the shot.
It's about the only place you could have hit it and not made it. So the 8 pin remains.
And it's a 10 box.
Not nearly the close match we had last week, but the scoring is much higher.
That's a spread eagle right through the middle. The 2-4-7 on the left, the 3-6-10 on the right. Three on the right go. And an 8 box for Toni. A 49-pin lead in the match. As you look at Tim Lipke,
Hey,
you note that he's
Dexter
wearing
on there.
Dexter bowling shoes. We're
Hey.
happy to welcome Dexter shoes to our family of sponsors on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS. Dexter, one of the world leaders in the manufacture of bowling shoes. You can find them at your favorite sporting goods store or your local bowling house.
Nothing short of a miracle is going to pull this out for Lipke in Montplasir.
And that'll be a 10 box for Tim. They need marks. He needs to mark the rest of the way.
Losers today, runners up, $300. Money added by Ray Simino and Lita Lanes.
We've given $100 in bonus money to Baker and Wellspring so far. Tim Lipke, look at that 4-pin dance. Tim looks around at the crowd and goes, wow. Well, all that's sitting up there now is the 4.5 pin.
I'd like to know what he's really thinking. It's like that new Mel Gibson movie where he can read women's minds.
Read minds. He missed the spare.
Ouch.
That was essential.
This one is all but over.
Well, the mark here by Shawn Baker would officially ice it, I believe.
Jack Daly and Janet Pock are bowlers next week. Janet Pock, the only woman in the history of Channel 5 to bowl on their year-end live television broadcast, True Value. Do you remember who she bowled?
I don't. Shawn will pick up the spare.
Bruno DeFeo, who we've seen on the show many times.
So Shawn will fill the spare. With a 9.
It's the 6-pin, unobstructed shot, no wood in front.
And another mark. And that will that will ice the match for Shawn and Toni. It is a mathematical impossibility if they put more than 2 in the spare. I'm going to assume they'll put more than 2 in the spare, which is not always a safe assumption, but
No, but we're also looking at a 400 triple, which how unusual for that is that in mixed doubles? I don't think we've had that before. I'll take a look at the records, but I'm almost sure it hasn't happened. Wellspring and Baker with games of 139 and 149, and they'll be probably in the 130s this game.
look at that split.
My.
That's the second time she's made an impossible split. Watch it again. It's only for a 10, but it's still a great shot as she cuts the 6 all the way
Didn't
across
use
the
the
ice to the
wood.
7. Didn't touch the wood. You don't see that very often. Missed the head pin, but has a spare opportunity with the 1, the 2, and the 4. We'll stay with it and watch Shawn and Toni try for some bonus money before we cut away. And a 10 box and a 115. And a 3-string total of 350. for Tim Lipke and Colleen Montplasir. Baker and Wellspring are already at 388. And now the bonus money. Will they get some bonus money? 9 in the spare.
They're over 400.
Piece of wood halfway in, halfway out.
Now the one on the right serves as a guide right to the 7-pin.
She missed it. She hit the wood in the gutter.
Hit the wrong deadwood. What was I thinking, she says. And that's not an easy shot either.
And a 9 box. So the winners will be Shawn Baker and Toni Wellspring. We will come back to meet our bowlers when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, when we continue with Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Right to the bonus ball contest, and Shawn Baker will roll a ball, and we'll try to match him up with a winner at home. And it is a 9, and Mike Moran will reach into the bin and pull out a card, and we'll see if we can match him up with someone at home, and we'll see how well we do. Michael, pull out a postcard there, and this is from Marie Bash from Peabody, Massachusetts, and she selected 8. It's not a winner. We'll have a consolation prize for Men in Our Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts for Marie, and we'll bring our winners over here, Toni Wellspring and Shawn Baker. It looks like she carried you today, didn't she?
Well,
no way.
Once in a while, I need someone to carry, and she did an awesome job, and she was bringing home all the bonus money today.
You did get $100 in bonus money. You said you were nervous at the start. You didn't look it.
Oh, I was definitely nervous. With all the lights and everything, it's pretty hot up here.
At one point, did you feel comfortable? After a couple of boxes, did you feel?
After the second string.
After the second string, but you were throwing strikes like you've been here all your life. You looked like you were really right into it. Congratulations to you both. Like I say, $100 in bonus money, and up the ladder. We'll see you again next week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shawn and Toni, our winners here this afternoon, and up the ladder we go next week.
Jack Daly and Janet Pock. Janet, very well-known bowler in these parts, so we're looking forward to having you next week for week 3 of mixed doubles.
We'll look forward to seeing you. For Mike Moran and our entire WNDS TV crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Get Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. So long. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Stripes.